Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to Weekly Wrestling Heat Podcast. Mr. Boy Elias here. It's a solo night tonight. Maybe. We'll see who hops on. Anyways, another week full of wrestling, another week of interesting things that have been going on in WWE, AEW, and on AEW and NXT. Aha.
I'm
Welcome,
driving,
sir.
so I will not be looking at the camera, just so everyone is aware. I will be looking at the road. How
Welcome.
you
It's
doing?
been a minute, sir. Good, 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 good. How's
It
everything with you?
has it has been a minute.
Ah.
Everything is going swimmingly, as you could tell with the logo. This new position is kind of insane. I spent a couple days ago. For those of y'all who don't know who are watching, obviously we're based out of Houston. I spent a day yesterday at a client's house in 99-degree weather with humidity, looking at cameras for 35 minutes. Proceed to go inside, ask her for some water, and she's drinking some ice water. She says she doesn't have anything. So that was great.
Damn.
Oh, man. I just absolutely love that part of the job. But overall,
Oh,
no,
man.
everything's good. How about you?
Good, man. Just working and covering the stuff, man. Man, WWE, let's get into it. WWE released the following names today: Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Killian Dane, Arya Dabari, Marina Shafir, Ever Rise, Arturo Ruas, Tony Nese, the Bollywood Boys, August Gray, and Kurt Stallion, which is, again, the next line. I think this is like the third or fourth set of people they've released in less than a year.
Yeah. I mean, less than, 6 months?
6 months, actually. So
Yeah, since WrestleMania.
This brings up the question: is WWE gearing up for a sell, or are they just getting rid of the people they're not using? Because it's kind of a gray area, because they have been using some of these guys.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with, yes, boosting the investment profile. I forget what the actual technical term is. Forgive me. I study stocks, but not WWE stock. But I do know that I read somewhere, I think it was WrestleNomics, that said that by getting rid of a lot of these budget cuts, so getting rid of this talent, they're able to reach a certain threshold where they are more valuable at a sale, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to sell.
Yeah, it's basically like in business terms, like I learned, working in corporate, is that when you are getting ready to hear offers or trying to get the value of your company up to a certain point where if eventually you sell, you want to have your company worth a certain value. They're getting rid of people to clear up the bottom line, to be able to have that extra money to, just in case they want to sell. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing, because some of these guys will prosper in, well, most of all of them that they've released will prosper.
Yeah, they're all talented.
So I think it's a bad thing because it sucks that you see somebody lose their job like that, but it's also a good thing because it gives these guys a chance to reinvent themselves, to have that creative freedom that they want. So it's a good and bad thing, like I said.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's a few of the names jump out more than others. The biggest problem I'm starting to realize is WWE is very comfortable with these releases now because of how much added pressure it creates on AEW to a degree.
Yeah.
And that, hey, do y'all really want to keep signing all these people? Go ahead. Y'all are going to run into the same issue we've been in the past 3 years now, and getting all of this talent.
Which we're starting.
It will reach a level very soon, I think, that it's, okay, Tony Khan, don't sign these people. It kind of sucks to hear, but you're not worth us extra signing, if that makes sense.
Well, and I think they're already starting to see those pings, because, like, even when, like, Mark Henry and the Big Show signed, a lot of the roster you started seeing on Twitter a lot of roster being like, well, we're still here. So it's like you're starting to see the frustration from the AEW stars of seeing it's not
I
as
think,
big as it
yeah,
is with WWE, but it's starting to start.
yeah, and part of it too is I believe a lot of people's contracts are starting to come up um, through AEW. Right, this is almost the 3 year mark coming up soon. There's a
It
signing
definitely is.
where
It definitely is.
yeah, some of these guys are about to no longer be signed, and in the case of I don't know if you're going to talk about the news with Joey Janela. Thank God, people like that aren't going to be around much longer.
I choose to leave that out because that will take this show into something that we don't want to take it to.
Well, I'll bring it up, but like there are some people that we gave them a shot for the 3 years. Time for them to go, and they can do what they were doing before, or they can maybe go to Impact, they can go to Ring of Honor, and they can still work within the company to a degree, but through another company.
Well, you
And
know what I think it's you know what I think
I'll
is
just say,
cool right now is go ahead, finish your thought.
go ahead.
I said you know what I think is cool right now is that companies like MLW, Ring of Honor, NWA, Impact are growing. So it's like a good time for these guys to be able to venture out and go to other companies and actually do stuff. So like you look at in Texas, even in Dallas, SWE, um, a company that's flourishing, and they're pretty much getting big name stars to be there. So
Yeah,
it's like you see like Teddy Long having that relationship. You got people like Kevin Nash. You have Melina, Big Cass, and so doing running that show, that circuit.
yeah,
So I
it's
think
good. Everything I think it's better than it was this time last year about releases. That's the good news.
I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I think
Uh,
it's one of those things that
oh,
it's going to be a positive thing for the industry. And I always have this theory, like if you're not using the guys, or if they're not getting the push that they want or they feel they deserve, let them go. Let them reinvent themselves. Let them do what they do. And if it's worth it, the investment in the future, it's like think about it. Drew McIntyre left, got released by WWE, went and reinvented himself, became this badass, and then came back and look where he's at now. Stuff with people like that generally succeed in the market. EC3, unfortunately, he had a bad stint in WWE, but when he went to Impact, he totally reinvented himself to the character he is now. Look at Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona is making hella noise, and people kind of doubted him when he got released.
yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah, he's all over the place now.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I mean,
interested to see
I,
this match he got coming up.
yeah, with Nick Gage.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be interesting. That's an interesting matchup group of wrestlers. I never really saw Matt Cardona doing that style. Did he ever used to do it before?
no,
That
he's
style?
always been straight. He's always been that straight wrestler.
Yeah, so that's a cool. He gets to test himself out. I'm sure Chelsea Green is loving it, or whatever her name is now.
It's
What is
still
she
Chelsea
going by?
Green.
She's still
It's
going by
still
Chelsea
Chelsea
Green.
Green. Yeah, she's one of the ones that kept their name. Diana Peraza kept their name and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys are keeping their name. Some of them will see them in new names eventually.
Mm.
So it's it's
Well,
it's
so
an interesting time.
I kind of want to circle back then before I guess we move on. Just out of those names, which one do any of them surprise you really, or is it all pretty much? I expected it. It sucks, but I expected it.
I will agree. I expected the same thing to happen. The ones that really kind of like surprised me is Breezango.
Yeah.
Breezango was one of the groups that actually did surprise me um, because of the fact that they have actually been making noise in NXT. They were NXT Tag Team Champions, and did they did really good. So
Hmm.
it's like I think that was Everrise too, because Everrise was actually being used in NXT at a certain capacity. and Killian Dane too, because Killian Dane actually had a pretty good thing going on with Drake Maverick.
Well, I mean, I think the only ones to me that I obviously know of, because I didn't watch too many of these guys, is Breezango. Most of that's just because obviously I know Fandango, because that name was
Yeah,
super popular. What, 10 years ago? I remember hearing that story about him and Jericho when he debuted. I guess it was a little over 10. It was probably 10, 15 years ago at this point. But obviously heard about him, and I knew what he did with Breezango for a little bit, and then obviously Tyler Breeze with his new school with Sean Spears. I think there's just a pretty obvious connection there. He might show up for a little bit. I don't know that he would stay, or he definitely is a elevation talent, stuff like that. I think he would love to do if he goes to AEW to any degree.
yeah, and I
Ooh,
think
wow.
it's one of those things that we'll be seeing a couple of stars going to AEW Impact. I think we might even see some go to ROH, and I think Killian Dane might actually hit the circuit for a minute before he signs with somebody.
Yeah.
So I think he might actually go back to the UK a little bit because I know he's well known in the UK, especially with Red Pro and companies like that.
Who wants to go to the UK? It's all locked down still.
Eventually.
I know what you mean. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And when it first broke, I was at a customer's house, unfortunately, and I just my phone started just buzzing. It's like, what the heck is going on? Because I had alerts on for tweets and stuff, and everything was just popping off. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, sir. Give me a second. I check my watch, and I see WWE releases as an alert from another video. I was like, oh no.
You
We
know
should
what's funny?
expect it, but we also shouldn't.
And I read a news article today on Wrestling Inc. that Nick Khan is actually willing to take the heat for this because these are decisions that he's making.
Yeah.
So, and also that like I saw this article that I was reading was that you know a lot of financial experts and a lot of regular people are actually kind of predicting that WWE might go up for sale by the end of the year, if not sometime next year, pending the how the live tours outcomes come.
Yeah, that's always so. And maybe you can walk me through this because I don't read into why they would want to sell, but if they choose to sell the company, I'm assuming they're selling it to make it private again, or Vince is maybe selling his ownership stake to someone else. But what would be the end goal of something like that? Like just Vince and Stephanie and all of them get out of the business in terms of financially owning it, or are they trying to just move along who is CEO and through some kind of ownership conglomerate or something? I don't know what they're trying to say by saying they're going to sell it.
I think it's one of those things where if they sell it, they're gonna they'll probably keep like majority option where they're still able to make the decisions, but they would want to invest it or sell the company to a company that's financially wealthy where it could help them grow more. Because think about it, if they sell it to NBC, you know, or Disney, those type of companies will be able to elevate WWE a little bit more than it make it bigger than it is already.
Great. Cartoons, crap. More of them. Oh well. That's
I don't
not
know.
my
I think
WWE.
I think WWE is it's slowly because even tonight I watched the end of SmackDown, and it was pretty good. Like I was like they finally brought back Edge, and it feels like they're ramping up again. And I think they've just been holding back on giving the people what they want until the live crowds come back. So it's like they're slowly starting to tease. Like even Raw this week was better than expected. So like, you know,
Yeah.
you look at Raw and you're like, oh crap, this is actually good. I
Well,
I
hold
want to
on.
bring this.
This is tolerable.
yeah, like this is tolerable. Like,
They've set
like,
our standards so low that we think them doing the bare minimum is good.
but it was above
but
the bare
but
minimum.
yes,
Funny enough,
it
it
was
was above the
it
bare minimum.
was it was
So it was just funny. It was is one of those things that it makes you think like, yeah, they're really toying with people right now and trying to tease the stuff that they got coming up. Because think about it, they still have people like Becca Lynch out. They really haven't spotlighted Edge. They really haven't done a lot of stuff with all these people that are supposed to be coming back. So now that the crowds are coming back, you're starting to see glimpses of WWE trying to push all these people again.
yeah. We'll see how long it lasts. I've been burned enough by them. But yes, Raw was better this week. I haven't obviously. I'm still in work clothes. I haven't seen SmackDown yet, but I don't know. Hopefully it's
I
decent.
don't know.
I do know. I did like NXT this week. It was really good. But
I think them bringing Samoa Joe back as an enforcer and teasing these matches is one of the best things they've done since COVID started.
yeah, I wonder why they brought back someone who's good.
Of course, but even even though, and I think NXT has been the best program along with SmackDown compared to Raw. I mean, anything is better than Raw right now.
Yeah, Impact is better than Raw. It is.
They still have some moments as well.
It's still better than Raw. That's that part. Outside of Lashley and Drew, and even then, that's a little bit outdated at this point.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things that we're kind of ready to. I'm glad that they ended that. I will say this: the New Day has really become one of my favorite groups again. And that's just because all of them have shown, even like Monday, Xavier Woods shown that he can handle the pressure of being the main event star.
Oh, I mean, I don't think we ever doubted that. He's a trombonist.
Well, of course, he's a musician like us, but at the same time, like it shows how great the New Day is because they're successful as a group. They can be successful as individuals. So it's like I really enjoyed the match between him and Bobby Lashley in Hell in a Cell, which is ironic that Fox gets Hell in a Cell, and then all of a sudden Monday we get Hell in a Cell, which I'm not complaining because I really like the match, but
it was a good match. It's dumb. It just kills the purpose of Hell. I don't know. I looked at it both ways. I was upset. I was like, why are they having a Hell in a Cell with a 2-hour build? That's not Hell in a Cell. But the same voice, I really liked it. So
yeah, that was my same train of thought though. I was like, why are they doing this? Just like they started off the 3 hours with, oh, we're gonna have another Hell in a Cell match and build it up for 3 hours, and then it's still delivered, but you're still like, why? But then you realize WWE is trying to make USA happy too because they were mad because Fox got a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's one thing we're gonna start. I think that's one thing we're gonna start seeing from WWE is them bringing like old gimmick events back and using those in USA and Fox and stuff like that. So I
Hell
think
in a
we're
Cell
gonna.
is an old gimmick. I mean, it is, but they still do it.
Well, no, like I think King of the Ring is coming. There's a rumor that King of the Ring is coming back, and I think they're gonna run it through SmackDown and Raw instead of doing the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that was 2 weeks. They've done it. They did it 2 years ago.
Yeah, and they need to do it again because everybody grew tired of King Corbin.
I love King Corbin.
I loved it, but I think sometimes you need to if you're gonna do the King of the Ring thing, you need to do it yearly, so it can give a chance.
Stay fresh.
Like stay fresh because King Corbin elevated himself with the King gimmick, and then now it's like it kind of ran stale at the end. So I think them doing that with Nakamura was a good thing to give Nakamura that push that he needed because he was growing still in the roster. So it's a positive and negative with everything. So I really enjoy it. AEW has been pretty impressive lately. There's some things that they're still needing to work on, in my opinion, but I've been enjoying AEW more and more as they keep going. Or what do
I
you
want to
think,
hear.
Mister?
I want to hear your. Why do you like it more now? Not maybe not more, but yeah, you said more and more. Because to me, they've started to lean a little too heavily on old Bullet Club and Elite and all of that. Is leaning a little bit too much that way for someone like me, who I was into it. I love that stuff, but I wasn't watching it when it was happening originally.
I think apart from that, I think the reason I like it is because they're pushing certain people like Jungle
Oh well,
Boy.
yeah. Of course, yeah,
Like they're doing right things, but at the same time they're leaning on what made the elite successful, and that's what's kind of turning people away from it because you're like, yeah, the only reason that that you're bringing this gimmick back is because you're seeing that you're not getting over as much as you would want, and now that they brought the Bullet Club stuff back, people are paying attention. But at the same time, your hardcore people that were there with you from day one are like now you're starting to kind of be WWE ish with the stuff.
Oh, see, I don't see that at all. That part of the last thing you said, I don't see that at all.
I kind of do.
I don't see that. No, I don't see it.
Well, I wouldn't say
In what
WWE ish,
way?
but kind of like
But
okay. So you
mean
know
like
how people
TNA-ish, like where they're putting themselves over?
I guess that's the best way to put it. Kind of TNA ish, like TNA ish when it first incepted, where you had like you know
Jeff Jarrett, Hogan, and
Jeff Jarrett, Hogan, and all that, all them guys putting themselves over, and you push your roster to the back. Now AEW has grown the roster pretty big now, so it and then when I say WWE ish, it would be kind of like bringing these people in and then put them in the main event scene. Like I think they're doing something right by Christian by making him work, but at the same time he's not putting himself over. He's putting younger stars over. Like I really enjoyed how he put Jungle Boy over.
The only thing I hated about that, because I don't think we haven't talked about that before, but the only thing I hate about that is it did cause people to boo Christian for a little bit, but it got to the right outcome, which is what you want. Like, you know, any other Royal Rumble in other companies, you get the boos, and that person that was getting booed still won, which isn't a good
Yeah,
sign. So, yeah, I like that part a lot. And Jungle Boy, I don't know if you read that article he did recently where he says he's not comfortable doing promos
yeah,
and he tries to avoid it. I was like, man, as a young guy, man, like you're being put into this good position. At least you should want to work on it, not say I'll work on it later, which is what he basically said in his in that interview. And I didn't like hearing that because he's a guy that eventually could be real big.
no, I agree. He has a lot of potential to be the next big star, the next main eventer. Um, and what was your thoughts about Andrade actually debuting in AEW? Because I know you're more of the AEW person.
Man,
So
dude, Andrade. All right, so I had two thoughts. Number one was, oh, thank God, we got a Latino that'll be pushed the right way, right? That number one, that's the big thing for me. Number two though was, what the hell? Why doesn't he have music yet? Why are we doing it with Vicky? I mean, cool. Now he explained it a little bit, but there was a couple things I was like, well, we'll see how it goes. The company hasn't done it wrong yet. Nothing big that wrong yet. Like they've Miro, people didn't like at first, but look at where he's at now. It's like, okay, that progression made sense because you couldn't just immediately put him in to the TNT
yeah,
title. Um, so well, obviously we'll see how it goes, but I'm super stoked to see Andrade there.
yeah, no,
Now,
I'm.
to continue, what do you think his surprise is that they've got coming up? Did you
I don't know. What I think they might bring Selena Vega in or Thea Trinidad.
see? I don't know because there was all those reports that she was at the PC still.
Yeah, but Aleister Black is no longer with WWE neither. So
Yeah, but they said she had gone and she had re-signed.
That's also true.
And even Alistair Black or Tommy N, in his little oral sessions podcast with Renee, he said, obviously my wife had all these issues and now she's got it straightened out. He didn't say she resigned, but he said they got it straightened out. Like, to me, that
Yeah,
means she is back with them.
probably so. It'll be interesting to see what, or either that, or we're gonna see Los Ingobernables debut in AEW, because Rush is,
Ooh,
Rush and the rest of the Ingobernables faction really is our open game to everybody.
that's true. I don't know. I'm
So
excited. I don't. I will say I don't think Vicky's gonna be wrestling tomorrow.
I don't think so neither, but it would surprise me if she does.
I don't even think I need to see that.
Well, I don't. There's a lot of things that like I really think they did a great job at building Britt Baker and putting a championship on her. So I'm hoping they continue to build the division around her, because
Oh yeah.
she's the face. She's the face. She's the person that has been consistently growing and maturing in the company, and
Yeah.
she's been with them since day one.
I wish she had been booed. I don't like that she's getting cheered.
You
She's
know,
a
it's
heel.
funny,
Boo her. Boo
but
her.
it's funny the logic of wrestling fans nowadays. The heels
Yeah.
get cheered and the faces get booed.
Roughly, but yes.
So, and one thing I will say, I think that I have been enjoying the program between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle.
You have been?
I have been.
I figured you would be the opposite.
I actually like this thing that they turned Inner Circle face, because the face turn for them, I thought it wasn't going to go well, but it actually has gone better than expected.
Oh, that part of it. Okay. I thought you meant like
Yeah.
an actual feud. Like, I figured you would be one of the ones that was thinking they did everything backwards.
No, I think they did the build up to it, how they let MJF into the Inner Circle and then he turned on them and did all that. As far as the storytelling progression of it, it was done very well.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and now that they're going through it, I don't think they should have any more matches as a group. I think it should split off to like they're doing right now. Like they got
Okay. So
FTR.
you think? Okay. I've been seeing people complain that maybe they should have done singles first and then build up to the blood and guts or something like that. But I personally I like it. It's like one of those things where the blood and guts match, you know, even though it ended and that's typically a match where that's the end all be all. I like that it was still basically like, yeah, we quit, but that doesn't mean we're done with you yet. Like, I like that.
Yeah, even though I didn't like the ending of it, because I really thought that the Pinnacle should have looked a little bit stronger in the match, but the ending was still kind of like, yeah. And it wasn't their fault. It wasn't even the wrestlers' fault. It was a production aspect of it that was shitty on that end.
You know what? I think that was the last time we talked about AEW together. Yes, because I remember saying, it's not their fault. Quick.
Yeah, no, and like I said, the match itself was nice. It brought back old feelings of NWA style blood and gut match or the match beyond. But in my opinion, I thought that the Pinnacle could have looked stronger. They looked really good in the Stadium Stampede, but I think AEW needs to get to a point where they're, instead of them continuing to do these like same build up to the same thing, same matches, because this is the second time that you've had the Inner Circle involved in Stadium Stampede. I think it should continue on to other groups. I think one thing that AEW is kind of doing a little bit too much of, in my opinion, is the factions. But at the same time, I'm like, I get it. You're trying to give all your guys TV time. So, like,
Yeah, well,
but you also have,
I think I like the factions only because I think about like I hate saying it like this, but like in real life, right? Like there's groups of people that work together all the time. Like even at your job, you work with probably 3 or 4 guys that you're always hanging out with. Same thing with me at work. I hang out with 3 or 4 of the same people all the time. And then even then, like going even further deeper into it, like MMA, which I understand is not the same thing, but they are groups. Like this past weekend, I went to a fight in Arkansas, and you had the 4 ounce group, which was from Texas. Then you had the what they call themselves, the Rockers or some crap. I don't know, but there was the MMA group from Little Rock, and they were fighting, basically person by person with these two groups. So I kind of like that implementation into AEW.
Speaking of which, what were your thoughts on the MMA match between Hager and Wardlow?
Okay, so man, I've been wanting to talk about this with someone because I texted my brother right after. I said that was awesome, and then I started seeing a bunch of hate for it, and I'm like, what? What was
I
wrong with it? Did they want them to
I
legit have an MMA fight?
I don't think it. I think it was a choreographed MMA fight
To a degree, but at the same
to a
time,
degree. But it didn't really do anything, in my opinion, because you just kept it for a storyline progression point. Yes, I get it. It was part of the to progressing the storyline because now you involve Dean Malenko, but you could have done a one-on-one match instead of doing the MMA fight because a lot of the MMA people that watch wrestling shit it completely on this match.
I guess, but like I think that was the point. Hager is an MMA fighter, and Wardlow is not. Like Wardlow clearly is not going to do MMA in the ring because he can't. He doesn't know how. That's why he
Yeah,
fell back to doing a Hurricane Rana, which doesn't really do anything from an MMA standpoint, right?
yeah,
Like
and I
that
think
move,
I
that
think
move actually puts you at a disadvantage because you're flipping the guy around. He's going to get some distance now from you while you're on the ground trying to get yourself back up. Hager's going to come in and hook you and get you to tap out, which is exactly what happened with a
yeah.
triangle hold.
So and I think this is one of those ones where you have to really look at it from a storyline progression. I wasn't a fan of the MMA match because I watch UFC, so it's like to me it was just like oh this is just like it didn't have that feel of an MMA match. It's like all right they're gonna wrestle. There's
No,
some
no.
wrestling gonna be incorporated into it.
The feel at the start was it. Like that was MMA starting. But you're right, the actual match itself wasn't too MMA. But you do know Wardlow wants to train for that. I think that's part of why he wanted to do it.
And that's fine. And from that aspect, I like it because of the fact that they're doing their own little thing and they're trying to, trying to incorporate different things. Which is one thing that I like about AEW. They're willing to try something like that. Like
Yeah.
you would never see WWE to do a MMA match in WWE ring. Like
Yeah, no shot.
I mean, they tried it with Raw Underground, but look how that went.
Oh, don't even get me started. There was people saying Raw Underground was better than this, and no shot. never in a million years was.
I think there were some points of Raw Underground that had that real like when you had like the he's Commander Aziz now fighting like certain points felt like MMA, but it was just like like something to make it different on it. But I really think that I really am excited to see one match that I do really want to see is MJF versus Sammy Guevara.
Oh, I can't wait. That's tomorrow.
Is it? I thought it was in 2 weeks.
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. I'm not. Now you got me confused. Maybe it is at the next show. I thought it was the main event tomorrow.
Well, let's see. Saturday. I'm actually on the site right now. Rankings results. No.
So excited! I'm about to get dinner. It's Raising Cane's. Sponsor of today's video.
Nothing yet. Oh, we'll see. I think you may be right. I think it is probably tomorrow.
Yeah, but it'll be fun.
How
Last thing I was going to touch on with the MMA, I did show it to. I showed basically the ending of it, so I won't lie. I didn't show them the whole thing because we didn't have time. But to my buddy who was in the fight in that weekend in Arkansas, I showed him the ending to it. He said, "I mean, for fake MMA, it's okay. It makes sense." And he won with a real MMA move. What more could you ask for from something that's fake?
and that's where
that's what
and
his
that's
standpoint was.
and I agree. I think that's one of the ones that actually did make it feel like MMA at the end because of the way it ended. So it ending that way was pretty good. And no, I think it is in 2 weeks because tomorrow they're saying Kenny
So it's gonna
Omega
be in Austin?
versus
Oh, Jungle Boy.
They're-
That's right.
yeah
Omega Jungle Boys. So, is it the show in Austin?
next
Or
week
the one in St. Louis?
next Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yeah. Where's that at?
No,
St. Louis?
they're still doing it at Daly's Palace next Wednesday.
Well, I know I'm going to the Austin
I-
show and I'm going to the Dallas show as well. The Fighter Fests.
Yeah.
Oh, Miami.
Yeah, they're doing it in Miami, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that was all my touch points on that Hager thing and Wardlow.
Well, I'm excited for wrestling to go back to the crowds, start touring again. I think it's one of those ones that I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I'm excited to see what's next for all companies as they start touring. I know WWE at the end of next month is hitting up Texas. They're doing Houston, Austin.
Yeah.
I think.
You want to go?
No, I actually am not going to go to Dallas for Money in the Bank.
No, Houston. The show here, the Raw.
I think
We can-
that we can.
We can.
When
we
is
can
it?
boo the Alexa Bliss stuff.
When is it? Well, she's not on SmackDown.
Raw. It's Raw that's coming. I think.
No, SmackDown's in Houston.
Oh, Raw is at America is in Dallas then. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can go watch your Lord and Savior Roman Reigns. Or what does he go by?
I'd be down. Let's get tickets and we'll go.
What does he go by? Not Lord and Savior.
The Tribal Chief.
The tribal chief. Little Lord and Savior. He does look like Jesus a little bit.
I will say one thing though. And New Japan has actually been making a lot of noise lately, and they're bringing New Japan to California, or to I think California.
Why would they go to Cali? It's shut down still.
Well, California also has, I think it's California, but they actually their dojo, their New Japan dojo in the States,
Oh,
is actually in California.
got you.
So yeah, the LA Coliseum on August 14th. So I think it's going to be an interesting thing. Oh,
I mean,
other than that, I think there's really not much to talk about. NXT was good. I'm really enjoying the storyline between Legado, and then I enjoyed the match between Kyle O'Reilly and what was that? Kyle O'Reilly and I think Johnny
Kushida?
Gargano. Oh no, Kushida.
I like the
Kushida.
match.
Yeah, I like the Kyle O'Reilly Kushida match. I thought that was really good. The Diamond Mine finally debuted it. What was your thoughts on that?
I didn't watch that. I just watched a couple of the matches. That's why I like the Kushida match. I knew I needed to watch that one, but I didn't watch the entire show. I heard about it, but I think it has a lot to do with just bringing back some of those the cruiserweights.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Well, it's Tyler Rust, Roderick Strong, and Hideki Suzuki.
Okay. How do they relate to Diamond Mine?
MMA type or fighting style type. I think they're putting it has like a MMA type of style group. And then Malcolm Bivens is heading the faction.
Sure. See where it goes.
I'm interested to see. the group that they have together, apart from Malcolm Bivens, I think can be a good trio. Um, Especially with Hideki Suzuki. I've seen some of his matches. He's one of the best Japanese wrestlers out there that has transitioned to the United States. So, and then Roderick Strong, of course, he looks lean. He looks really good. So I think he cut weight to be able to be in the cruiserweight division. So I think this little storyline with Kushida might lead to Roderick Strong getting the cruiserweight title.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people were saying 205 is going to get gone and basically join back into NXT like they originally thought.
Yeah, and I think that's why all the release, a lot of the 205 guys got released today.
Yeah, which kind of sucks because some of them could have been awesome in NXT.
Well, yeah,
But,
I mean,
anyway, we already talked about it, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, you had Breezango, of course, but you had a couple of the guys that got released that were on 205 Live. So either way, I think that's it, man. I think that's pretty much it. I think we cut the show 40 minutes. I think we kept it at a good tempo. More than likely, you need to come join us whenever we can. If we do something next big show that we do for AEW, I'd like to have you back on the show.
I mean, now with this new job, I have time again. I'm not working 60 hours a week. I'm working 40 hours a week now. I'm supposed to work tomorrow, but I'm at 39 hours, and I've got 2 things to go do tomorrow that I'm scheduled for, and I have to call those clients and say I can't go. So I kind of still am used to my old schedule, and I was working too much time apparently.
And you're on salary now, or are you, well, we'll talk offline on this about that. So, all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on Weekly Wrestling. We'll be back next week with an episode. We'll have Moise, and then hopefully we'll have Angel back over here pretty soon, eventually one day, and then we'll probably try to get Matt over here as well. So, from everybody here, peace out, peace.
Kawaii.